Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. Tonight, we're going to talk basketball, Raptors, and what they did, what they didn't do, what they need to do, what went wrong, what went right, and what's going to happen. And I'm joined by Tom Rajab, who is a buddy of mine, who is a basketball agent, and he recruits people to play in some of the professional leagues that aren't the NBA and college and other stuff. And Tom is a fascinating guy. He's one of the only people I know that got a scholarship to, I think it was the University of Maine, for both basketball and soccer. Highly unusual to play varsity college sports in the United States in two different sports at the same time. I don't even know how you could possibly do that. And then he went off to Europe and played professional soccer. And then he came back to Canada and became a basketball agent. So Tom Rajab, welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour. Rajab Dazadeh. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Tell me it again. Tom
Rajab Zadeh.
Rajab Dazadeh. Thank you so much. So what do you think happened with the Raptors this season?
Great things happened. A lot of good things. I mean, this is a team, that won the championship previous season. Started the season. They were on a very good momentum into the playoff, and then 2020 happened. 2020, COVID-19 shut down basketball around the world, and then just not having played after, I think, close to 145 days of basketball, they decided to go to the bubble in Orlando and bring all the teams in Orlando. NBA brought all the teams in Orlando so they can have a small preseason and then continue some of the games, and then hopefully use the opportunity to conclude the 2019-20 season.
So are you suggesting that the 145 days off hurt them, that they were not in the best shape?
Well, no, I think, obviously it hurt everybody. All the teams didn't play that amount of time, and it just takes you out of basketball is a game of rhythm. So when you get out of rhythm, like it did, I think that threw them off. But nevertheless, they were pretty good. I mean, they did some amazing work during the time of the bubble. The record, they had the highest winning percentage, 53-19. And then they had the most, they were number one again in points per game, which was 126, averaging 126 points per game. They were 7-1 in record before going to the playoffs. Coach Nick Nurse got Coach of the Year award. A lot of good things happened. They beat Brooklyn 4-0 in the first round of playoffs. But just they were unlucky, and playing against the Boston Celtics, the series, losing 4-3, just caused a little bit of a shake. And of course, during very unstable times, with a lot of what happened in Wisconsin, what's happened generally with the social injustice issues. And then for the second time in Wisconsin after the police brutality, again, it was Michael Jordan, I think it was, who came in and talked to the NBA and the player union and then tried to bring back, again, the players to continue the season. So there was a lot of ups and downs throughout this, since they went to the bubble, or just the beginning of 2020, so to speak.
Siakam got a lot of blame for the loss in the end. What do you think? Is that fair?
No. Look, I don't think the fans, or just generally the fandom, shouldn't be treating the Toronto Raptors, who won the championship after the 25 years of history, NBA history here in the country. I mean, the team wins, the team loses, and this is part of the journey. I think they were pretty impressive considering the circumstances and the conditions of which, how the players came together and played on the bubble. I think they accomplished tremendously.
Last year, obviously, trading for and bringing in a star player, unrestricted free agent star player, was key. Was it unfair hoping Siakam could fill his shoes?
Well, there were actually two. There was also Danny Green, the shooter, who, with Kawhi Leonard. I think there were the two major pieces of the Toronto Raptors that they, decided to go their own separate ways. Kawhi Leonard simply wanted to go home. He wanted to go back to LA, where he's from, and Danny Green joined the LA Lakers. So not being able to keep those guys obviously changes the caliber of the team, but also given those circumstances, still, I think Pascal Siakam, when it started season, showed a lot of leadership. A lot of the young guys came in and filled up a lot of the missing ingredients in the team and tried to bring a lot to the table. I mean, hence why the record was, 53-19. That's a pretty good record.
It was pretty spectacular. Tom Rajab, is that correct?
Rajab Zadeh.
Tom Rajab Zadeh. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to take a break for some messages and come back more with Tom Rajab Zadeh in just a minute. Stay with us. Welcome back. Brian Crombie Radio Hour. We're chatting with Tom Rajab Zadeh about basketball and the Toronto Raptors. So Kyle Leonard, was that the right move to bring him in and then, have him only for a year? Did Toronto do something right, something wrong? What do you think? If you were the general manager, would you have done the same thing?
Well, I think it was a masterful trade. I mean, in the conditions that it was and how the Masai was able to do the trade at the time in those conditions during the previous summer, be able to get Kawhi Leonard, which is in a lot of ways, as he proved in the playing season, winning the championship, he was a better two-way player than DeMar DeRozan. So I think that's one of the reasons he traded for him. But then also landing Danny Green was also tremendous, asset also, because his shooting ability was giving a lot of space to a lot of the other individuals on the team to be able to operate within the balanced spaces. I think that's just a massive. I think everybody in the NBA around the world is left at awe. How he pulled that trade in a split second, and obviously the taking the risk and being able to do it showed that it was the right move, and Raptors ended up winning the championship.
Well, and willing to trade away one or two of the most popular players on the previous team from 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I think also you look at the history of the team and how it's emerged under the leadership of Kyle Lowry, who's been the floor general for the Raptors, and with his leadership, not just on the court but also off the court, mentoring a lot of the young emerging talents into the team, and being able to work with them to be able to put together a balanced, competitive team. And I think a lot of credit goes to the management and being able to put this team together, and continue winning, get into developing that culture of winning and being able to continue this movement. But then obviously, as they won the championship, quickly, as you can see, the Raptors fans' appetite quickly rose to a very high standard. So not winning.
They want it all over again. We wanted a two-peat.
That's right. That's right. And they almost did it. Just that there were some missing pieces and some inconsistencies, and I think they fell out of their rhythm. And a lot going on around the world with coronavirus, and as well, obviously, not trying to make excuses, but this is the new reality with a lot of how Raptors are actually use their platform as a forefront for social justice
So
issues.
I agree with you. I think they did a very good job in that regard. And I would like to talk a little bit more about Kyle Lowry, because I think that, the leadership that gentleman has shown has just been unbelievable, and probably didn't need to show it last year as much with Leonard around, but really has stepped up to the plate this year big time.
Absolutely. I mean, Kyle Lowry, I think he's probably, well, not probably, he is the greatest, Toronto Raptors player ever. He has been through the ups and downs of making this team, and been a big part of its history. So that's the leadership is required, and it's just, again, a lot of the inconsistencies. That's what's happened during their time in the bubble with the Black Lives Matter movement, with a lot of the police brutalities. Took away a lot of the focus and concentration of a lot of the players who are passionate about the subject when it comes to racism, social racism, and systematic racism, and social injustice issues.
Okay, I agree with that. But the issue is, what do they do over the summer? And you're an expert in this. You are an agent for players, and and you go and you inspect and investigate and look at players all around the world. My son keeps telling me about some player that the Raptors should draft, or should not draft, some player that they should trade for and sign up over the summer. Who's this guy, and what do you think about him? He's with Milwaukee, I understand.
Yeah. So this summer, it's going to be I say this summer. I mean, COVID-19 has completely changed the schedule, but moving.
You're right. This fall.
This fall, there's going to be a lot of unrestricted free agents, not only with the Raptors, but also with other teams. There's also some restricted free agents. So, you have Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Greek Freak that plays for the Milwaukee Bucks. He's going to be a free agent. And I think there are some possibilities of, obviously, for that player to be landing in Toronto, obviously through connections of Masai Ujiri and how they are able to manage the salary cap and free up the budget for the acquisition.
Tell me a little bit about this player, if you could.
So Antetokounmpo, the Greek Freak, a complete player. I think just the only element of his game is just the improving of his three-point shooting. But I think that will just come. All the great players have gone through this process, and you'll see a player. This is a player that does it all. From point forward to center, 6'10", long, athletic, just all kinds of measurements are off the Richter scale. He literally does it on all ends of the floor. He's a two-way player. He does it on offense. He does it on defense. He does it on rebounding. He is what, right now what the direction of the NBA is going with regards to having a 5-game where all the players are able to play all positions, so to speak.
I'm told that there's only 2 teams really interested in him. Do you think that's right?
I think all the teams are interested in him, but the question is, can they get him? I don't know a team that wouldn't be interested in him. This is right now, is probably, after with LeBron James, or with the best of them, probably the top 3 best player in the world. So I think it's a really major, how it really depends on the situation on each team and the cap space that they have available. And every team has their own situation or circumstances in terms of, their own restricted or unrestricted free agents and how they're able to free cap space.
And if the Raptors got him, who would he replace in the starting lineup?
Well, that's a really good question. So you have, first of all, I mean, you have Fred VanVleet, the point guard who, is going to be a free agent, unrestricted free agent. And then you're going to have Ibaka, and then you're going to have Gasol, and then you'll have Hollis Jefferson. These are the unrestricted free agents, and then you'll have the restricted free agents, which are the Boucher, Miller, Brissett, Johnson. These are some of the other guys that are also. So this roster, I think, is going to be shaken up a little bit, and I think Raptors are in a very good position to acquire Antetokounmpo, but. Again, you've seen, other teams like Miami is also competing, for possibility, and Pat Riley, who's a master general manager and tactician, in terms of, building dynasties with teams. I mean, what he's done with the Lakers, how he did it with a number of superstars, and obviously the most recent run was the LeBron James, D Wade, and Chris Bosh of the Toronto Raptors, formerly of the Toronto Raptors. So. It certainly is an interesting time to see how this, how teams, use this time to put themselves in position as they approach, for the asset acquisitions.
What do you think of VanVleet? He's not Lowry, but I was unbelievably impressed with his play during the playoffs.
Yeah, I would almost say that he is a clone of Lowry, just that he is bring a different style. This goes credit to the Toronto Raptors scouting of scouting a player coming out of Wichita State that played very well in the tournament but again was never drafted. So they brought him in, and they used used the 905ers platform to tweak tweak part of his game and be able to make him NBA or Toronto Raptors ready before coming in and following in the footsteps of Toronto Raptors player Kyle Lowry. So I think he also, had a very good tournament in the bubble. Averages 17 points. He will be sought after for sure by a lot of other teams also.
So if you were the president or the general manager, who would you be trying to sign before people can get them?
Well, look, I think if it's not broken, don't fix it. So you have to make your best efforts to go and get your guy, which is Fred VanVleet. And this is a guy that's won a championship for you. It's been with you through the journey. It's been with you through the ups and downs of the team. And so he's a real Raptor, and he started his career here. So you make best efforts to acquire him and keep him here. And obviously there are a couple of other elements in the team that also you need to address, and then you move forward from there.
So it's going to be an interesting interseason or off-season as the Raptors try to figure out what the team is that they're going to put on the court next year.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of moving parts to this. You look at Marc Gasol, for example. He's 34 years old as his career is winding down. You got Serge Ibaka again, another vet. 31 years old. You have to see how you are able to adjust in terms of what you're able to offer him. As an unrestricted free agent. And then the rest of the guys like Boucher, Miller, Brissett, Johnson, these are also guys that have worked and lived in this championship culture. So you really have to do homework and be able to see what makes sense. How do you make your team better? How do you go back and be able to do better than what you did this season?
And if you were in charge of it, what would you do?
Well, that's a very tough question. There's a lot of moving parts to this. I can't really you know, answer that question because it's very difficult. There's a lot of conditions that apply to this to the current scenario. And also, you know, I think you know what the difficulty that the team went through during in the bubble, and also there's a lot of moving elements of what happened in the bubble. What was the team chemistry like? How did they go through it? Were there any challenges? I think a lot of this that has to be fully evaluated, and I think management they already have a very good track record of building a championship team. So the question is, how do you come in and put it together in this new COVID-19 era?
Well, I think that the Kyle Leonard history is sort of the best example. And what they did is they were, you know, willing to trade away some of the most popular players to get the guy they wanted. They thought they would get them the championship. And they got him, and he won them the championship along with everyone else, no question. And so if I was doing it, I'd go for this guy from Milwaukee, but at the same time, I'd get someone like Van Fleet signed up too. And if I have to risk with one or two of the other starters doing something, you know, you take the risk. What do you think?
Yeah, no, you know, today's NBA clearly shows that you need to have at least two superstars to do it. You know, I think too, and you have a third guy as a complementary guy, and you have a strong bench that can come in. You know, you establish that culture. You know, again, this is the first time that not just the Toronto Raptors, the whole league has been in this situation, because again, the NBA has always been in the forefront of a sport that has been, you know, been all about their, you know, they've been socially conscious about what happens in the country or just generally in the world. So the players are very vocal. They use their freedom of speech. They use their platform to speak out, and you know, so this is just really unprecedented times, and you know, it's just you have to really give a break to these guys. They've been through a lot, because a lot of black athletes that just you know they have their own families, so they're a part of their communities that they're raised, you know, in the U.S. So they have ties and connections, one form or the other, to a lot of social injustice or police brutality, racism, systematic racism that's happening. I mean, to some extent, there's also, you know, and maybe not the similar level that is in the U.S., but there's also some of it here in Canada.
No question.
And I think with the leadership of Nick Nurse, and he came in with the Black Lives Matter and how they went into the bubble, you know, certainly been using their leadership abilities to be able to speak to the current affairs.
Right now, Tom, what's your bet on who's going to win the championship this year?
Well, look, you got Boston that you know that's going to go take on Miami for Eastern Conference Championship. And then you know, I think right now the game is about half an hour or 2 hours, I think it is. Let me see. Yeah, soon. I mean, next game is about an hour actually. That's going to be. You're going to have to see what happens with Denver Nuggets and the LA Clippers. I mean, that's deciding Game 7. Canadian Jamal Murray has had an impressive season. I mean, just during the playoffs, he's had some 40-point games that has been drawing comparison to the Michael Jordan when he started his career, with some of the stats that came in, the boy from Kitchener-Waterloo. I mean, nobody really expected this. So you have to see what happens. I mean, Denver, certainly they've come out with a lot of enthusiasm and renewed energy, and LA Clippers, they just have to be able to be more motivated to come in and play better level of defense to beat them. Clippers are very well capable of doing it. Whether they will do it, how they execute, yeah, that's on in about an hour. But then moving on, what they will do, I guess the winner of this contest taking on, resting Los Angeles Lakers, LeBron James, who has also, again, this is a team that is, after 10 years are having actually a decent run in the playoffs. And that team has gone through a lot, since the beginning of 2020 with the Kobe Bryant and Gianna's helicopter crash, and just LA and just the Lakers fans going through a lot emotionally, also just to be able to hopefully win a championship. But I think if Clippers move up, beat Denver, then I think you'll see, you're very likely to see LA finals, Clippers versus the Lakers.
It's going to be an exciting season. We'll have to check back in with you in a week or so and see how things progress. Tom, I understand you've got your own podcast. If people want to access that, how do they do that?
Of course, my live webcast is on International Ball Facebook page. Feel free to share or come on, press like, and stay on the page for upcoming. We conduct interviews with a lot of players, coaches, management, everybody in the basketball industry. Promoting mental health and just talking about basketball.
Tom, thanks so much for joining us and letting us know what you think the Raptors should be doing in the offseason. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Good night, everybody.